Good morning. And we want to welcome everybody who's here at the Emergency Operations Center and anybody watching. This is the Winter Storm Event public briefing for Calcasieu Parish. Today is Monday, January the 20th, 10 a.m. I'm Brian Beam, Calcasieu Parish Administrator, and as we've done in our previous public briefing, we will hear from speakers today to update everyone on the conditions we are facing over the next 3 days, actually, that are pretty severe winter weather event for us, and then we'll hear from public agencies as to how preparations are being made for that event. So as we did recently, we will ask Doug Kramer with the local National Weather Service to update us on the latest forecast. Doug?
All right. Well, hey, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. I will say that we have become much more confident in this forecast and what we're expecting here over the next 24 to 36 hours across southwest Louisiana, in particular Calcasieu Parish. The parish is under a winter storm warning. That's going to start around midnight tonight, and that will continue for about 24 hours. One thing that we have also become very confident in is just one precipitation type, and that's going to be snow. So temperatures with this Arctic air mass have trended colder, and so that's kind of lowering the chances for freezing rain. So that's going to be a positive. However, we will have some significant impacts with this system as we're looking at 4 to 6 inches of snow on average across Calcasieu Parish. There are some probabilities that would suggest maybe there could be some pockets of higher than 6 inches. That would not surprise us. But on average, from a widespread standpoint, we are looking at about 4 to 6 inches of snow. Now, that snow is expected, the onset is expected across Calcasieu Parish to begin after midnight tonight. And the bulk of that's going to fall during the morning hours tomorrow. So from about 5 in the morning, Tuesday morning, through about 11, maybe about noon, that's when the bulk of this event is going to occur, and that's when the precipitation rates will be the heaviest. We are expecting the combination of air temperatures and the snowfall rates to impact roads on a widespread basis. So this is not just going to be a bridge impact. It will be widespread road impact as well. The precipitation will begin to fade off from west to east tomorrow afternoon, and the snowfall will end for good with this event, probably by about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Lake Charles, maybe even before that. However, we do expect the road impacts to continue into Wednesday. This is going to be a historic event in terms of temperatures. One thing that I do want to bring to your attention is that the all-time record low for the month of January for Lake Charles is 12 degrees. That is what we are forecasting. And there are chances, especially if we get a snowpack, which we are forecasting, that those temperatures drop into the single digits early Wednesday morning. As those wind speeds begin to decrease, the Arctic high is going to be right over us. I think the timing will be very conducive for us to drop down into the single digits Wednesday morning, and that will be an all-time record low for the month of January here for Lake Charles. And the other thing we need to bring to your attention, there will be some pipe impacts with this event. We have trended temperatures colder, so we're looking at potentially 48 to 60 hours of temperatures below freezing here across southwest Louisiana by the time this is all said and done with. All right, well, that's going to conclude my briefing here. I can answer any questions that you may have. All right.
Thank you, Doug. Very helpful, and it seems like what you said in the most recent public briefing, but more of that, maybe even a little more intense. That longer duration under freezing is, I don't know if it's unprecedented here, it's very unusual, which of course amps up the importance of our preparation. So let's get into that now, both on an agency level and in all the residents. And we'll start with Jared Mays, our Emergency Preparedness Director here in Calcasieu Parish. Jared?
Good morning. I'm Jared Mays, the Director of Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. My office has continued to monitor the conditions, and we're coordinating resources and response efforts with other agencies throughout the parish, and we'll continue to monitor and coordinate as needed, and we are also staging resources. Public Works for the Calcasieu Parish has started sanding bridges this morning, and will continue to monitor the bridges throughout the event and apply sand as necessary. I spoke with the Department of Health this morning, and there's a few key points they just want me to put out with this upcoming weather. They just want to make sure that everybody's monitoring signs and symptoms of hypothermia and frostbite with the extreme cold temperatures tomorrow, and people will be out and about, probably playing and working in the temperature. Carbon monoxide, in case we have power outages, they'll have generators like they do during normal storms, so just be mindful of the carbon monoxide. If you got any prescriptions you need to get refilled, please get those refilled today because the conditions of the road may not allow you to get out and about tomorrow. Alcohol, especially outdoors, causes blood vessels to dilate, will increase risk of hypothermia, so we want to make sure we point that out. If you have any electrical devices like oxygen machines, CPAPs and such, make sure you got a battery backup and a power plan for that in case of a power outage. And just encourage people to go to the warming centers or shelters if they need. And they wanted me to remind you that the emergency rooms are for medical emergencies and not for warming shelters. Just be mindful of that, not to report to the emergency rooms. We still have sheltering set up at Water's Edge, located here in Lake Charles at 2760 Power Center Parkway, and the Sulphur Christian Community Coalition located at 501 East Burton Street in Sulphur, and also the Salvation Army will be housing people for the weather also. If anybody needs any assistance for transportation resources, they can still call 211. They'll be able to assist you and direct you in the right direction for that assistance. At this time, is there any questions? All right, thank you.
Appreciate that, Jared. We'll next hear from Department of Transportation and Development, Louisiana. Mr. Seth Woods, District Administrator here, and he'll be accompanied by Matt Gaspard from Louisiana State Police.
Good morning. Seth Woods with the Department of Transportation and Development here in Lake Charles, joined with Matt Gaspard with Louisiana State Police. DOTD's crews began pre-treatment of the roadways along our interstate systems yesterday evening. We will continue those operations of pre-treatment throughout today and throughout this event. Those priority routes that we are going to be focused on, I just want to mention those to you now. Interstate 10, Interstate 210, US 171, US 165, US 190, and we're also going to treat LA 27, the Gibbstown Bridge, Ellender Bridge, and also the Grand Lake and Black Bayou bridges. The DOTD Emergency Operations Center stood up this morning at 6 a.m. and will stay open and manned throughout this event. Additional resources have been added in the past few days since my last update. Some of those additional resources is we have rented additional equipment as well as contracted equipment to help in our operations. Arkansas Department of Transportation is participating in our efforts. They have crews en route right now that should be coming through our Lake Charles area within the next few hours. They're going to be applying a pre-treatment to the interstate system and on I-10 and Interstate 210. That'll be their mission 1. Mission 2, which is details are being coordinated currently right now, and we'll be seeing equipment coming down with snow plow equipment, and also additional salt application equipment. To support the Arkansas efforts, DOTD relocated 3 truckloads of salt yesterday to our Lake Charles unit, so we'll be able to support Arkansas through their endeavor. I also want to mention that the event and rest area is going to close today at 4 p.m. and stay closed throughout this event. There is an emergency lane closure on I-10 eastbound currently at mile marker 8 to mile marker 9 around LA 108. That is in the construction zone, and our contractor is working right now to correct that closure and repair the roadway. That'll be open as soon as possible. I will also want to mention that the Cameron Ferry is going to operate throughout this event, but there's going to be times with, as Doug mentioned, with the high winds that are coming along the coastline. If those high winds reach Coast Guard regulations, we will be shutting down the ferry for periodic times. Also, in Doug's forecast, he mentioned ice accumulation along the coastline. This does affect our ferry operations as well, so keep that in mind. We will do what we can to operate when we can, but we'll see how the weather calls us there. Also want to encourage everyone to continually look at 511, sign up for our MyDOTD press releases, as we're going to continually update that of any road closures or anything going on. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Trooper Gaspar for any comments.
Thank you, Seth. So on Louisiana State Police, what we just want to ensure to the public is we are working with DOTD. We have crews, extra troopers out there assisting the DOTD crews. We want the people to just note, if you can avoid travel, stay off the road. That way these crews can work. We don't need to add to the unnecessary amount of crashes. Obviously, not everybody can avoid the travel. I know some people have to go to work in this cold weather. If you do have to travel, reduce your speed, slow down. That's number one right there. Increase the following distance behind the vehicle in front of you. That way you don't slide into the rear in case there is, you hit a patch of ice. Watch for the slow-moving DOTD crews. Like Seth mentioned, we have some lane closures out there. There's going to be crews out there, crews putting pre-treatment down. And then finally, just one extra safety deal. I don't know how often it's been mentioned, but if you do have to travel, you may want to make sure your vehicle's topped off right now. Add some blankets, some snacks, in case you do get stranded. We are coming to help if you call, but our response time may be delayed. And then as Seth said, we're putting all the road closures, updates will be on the 511 app or LSP's social media pages. Any further questions?
If somebody does get stuck in snow or whatever, people here obviously are not used to it, would you have any tips for how to get yourself out?
Like I said, we're coming. We have tow trucks staged on both sides of the river. We have some for the east side and the west side of the bridge. We're coming. That's if you have your vehicles, keep your heater on. Prepare now, though, is the main thing. But we are coming. Like I said, it just may be a little bit before we can get there. Any other?
We can also add that the Motor Assistance Patrol in Lake Charles normally run 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Those service hours are going to be extended now, and they're going to run 24 hours a day during this event. So if someone is stranded in a vehicle, they can call, and we can possibly get motor assistance to give them assistance at that time. Thank you.
Seth, if you don't mind, on your last point, if that happens and they need to get Motor Assistance Patrol, how would they call them? What is it? How would they reach them to get motor assistance?
Yeah, they can be called through our office. It's also through our website, but through our office, it's 437-9100, and we'll be working with State Police in our EOC. So if you do contact State Police, they can also contact us there.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll next hear from Calcasieu Parish Sheriff and former volunteer fireman Stitch Gilry.
Thank you, Brian. We in law enforcement, we had our meeting with the chiefs, all the area chiefs yesterday, and we got a plan in place that, our duties is to go out there and protect our public and serve our public, and that's what we're going to do. If you have any emergencies, please call 911. That is the quickest, fastest way to get a response from law enforcement. We're also going to have extra law enforcement people out there on the roads. So if anybody needs an assistance, we're available. And we're prepared for this storm. After meeting with the area chiefs yesterday, and we talked about resources that any of them may need, and I think we're good to go. We're set, and we're going to be out there in full force to protect our public. It's like Trooper Gaspard said, you know, if you have to travel, you're going to travel. Please make sure you have blankets, snacks, water in your car, just in case, because you never know when you may get stuck in a traffic crash and you can't move. So if you're going to travel, please be prepared. So that's all I have, unless anybody got any questions. I can say law enforcement, we're ready to roll. Okay, thank you, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. So, as far as the power utilities, we have representatives here from Entergy and Beauregard Electric. They have indicated their preparations have been the same, certainly can answer questions, but they weren't necessarily going to come up and speak. But are there any questions of either of them? Because they're happy to convey that, if so.
I mean, are they able to predict at this point whether they expect any power outages, or do they think we'll sustain power through the whole event?
That's my cue, Lorena. If you, I'd rather them answer that directly. It's a good question. And Lorena Caesar with Entergy, and then Mike Viator afterwards, if you want to come up and follow as far as Beauregard, that would be helpful. Lorena?
Good morning. Like I said, my name is Lorena Caesar, Customer Service Manager with Entergy. As far as that question, we cannot guarantee 100% that we will not lose power. But in the event that we do, we are prepared to be out there to make restoration. As I mentioned at the last briefing, in the event that the winds are 30 miles an hour or more, the guys will not be able to go up in the bucket truck for safety reasons. We understand that, you know, it's cold and people are going to want their heat, but we also want those guys to go home safely. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I really don't understand the weather report as far as precipitation versus snow, but it sounds like snow more than rain. So in my mind, no ice that puts out the power. Are we worried that we might pull too much from the power sources and have to turn off our power?
Well, if there is participation on the lines, just a half an inch of participation on the lines can carry the lines, can add about 500 pounds to the lines. So like you mentioned, it may just be mostly snow, but everyone is going to be having their heat on full speed because of the cold temperatures. So in the event that they do lose power, as I mentioned, there's a different way to restore power. We won't be able to restore a whole feeder at one time. So we have to restore power. It'll be sections at a time because there is such a heavy demand on the line with all the heat and all the other equipment on the line. So we'll restore a portion of the line, make sure that holds, and then go section by section. So that process may take a little longer than when we normally restore power.
I don't think I asked my second question in the right way.
Yeah,
I'm asking if we might lose power because of draining the system.
Well, we won't know until that happens. It is a possibility, but like I stated earlier, we can't be 100% sure.
Yeah, Mike Viator, Beauregard Electric. Yeah, I tried to touch on that the other day. We've done some switching to try to balance out our systems. So we feel like we've put our grid in the best possible chance to not be overloaded. But with kids being at home and, you know, with schools canceled and the heaters going wide open, I mean, it will tax the system as much as any scenario that we have out there. As far as the difference in the snow, and talking to our Vice President, Scott Desatel, and Kay Fox, Kevin Aycock, snow is better than rain. Because the last thing you want is the long icicles. So if we're going to have some frozen precipitation of some sort, it is better than rain. It gives us a better chance. But, yesterday we had a situation just with the wind, a big tall pine tree that was outside of the right-of-way in Maryville, that got knocked over. Nothing we can do about that. So just like she said, we have crews ready to respond. We have crews outside of our area that have volunteered if we need them. We're getting preparations for hotel rooms if we need them. We're getting prepped to be able to cook and feed them if they have to come. So, like I say, we're planning for the worst, but hoping for the best.
Just in case, do you want to say anything about generator safety?
Yeah, definitely a good point, Teresa. Thank you. And because I have one set up in my house if I need it. If you're going to run a generator and it's not automatically set to come on and off through a professionally installed automated system, and you're going to connect it, you please make sure that you disconnect yourself from the utility lines. If we go out, if there's a line down, that's the last thing we need is a generator back feeding the grid. So it's extremely important to throw your main breaker off and just try to feed your house if you're going to run a generator. Also, do not run a generator in an enclosed building. Some people will run it in a garage or in the house. It has to be ventilated. CO2, unfortunately, there are a lot of casualties, deaths every year, or there's some, because of generator safety and people not operating them properly. So throw the main disconnect. If that happens to you, make sure the garage door is open or it's outside in a well-ventilated area. But that's a great point, Teresa. Thank you for that question. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you both. Very good reminders. And, the National Weather Service has excellent tools that they use. They've come a long way in hurricane forecasting and winter storms, but there's just no way to perfectly predict, of course, whether it's going to be totally snow or not. That's why, as the sheriff and others have mentioned, just preparing, just like you would any other event, to have the things you need at home is always the best advice. But we appreciate letting everybody know that the power grids are ready to go. Okay, at this point, we do want to ask, where there's always interest about our schools, and we have Calcasieu Parish School Board Superintendent Jason Van Meter here to update us.
Yes, sir. We did want to give an update. Earlier this morning, we did go ahead and cancel school for Wednesday, as well as closing offices, CPSB offices for Wednesday. We will continue to monitor weather with all the briefings from the National Weather Service. We've been very appreciative of those, and we'll continue to monitor those and make a call a little bit later for Thursday. Any questions? Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from some of our elected officials, and I'll ask Police Jury President Judd Bears to come up and lead the speakers. And at this time, would all the mayors present please come forward, or your city representatives? Thank you. Judd?
Thank you, Brian. While everybody's making their way up, I want to again thank everyone in the room, and then everyone downstream from each of you for the preparation that you've put into this event. As of yesterday, I signed a disaster declaration as we prepare for the impacts. We urge people to use caution when you're outside, and if you've got to move around. I don't want the nice weather today and the words of, hey, we're out in front of this and we're preparing the roads way ahead of time and we got all this covered as an excuse for you to say, oh, well, cool, they're going to make it easy for me to drive around tomorrow. No, that's just in case there's an emergency situation. Unfortunately, if God forbid, you or a loved one needs medical assistance and needs to get somewhere, that's who needs to be traveling tomorrow. If you got to work, that's one thing, but please, if you don't need to be out, there's nothing going on. Again, I appreciate LSP and DOTD for their efforts in this. Saw it this morning, man. That's awesome. Please continue to monitor the weather. All your reputable weather outlets, Facebook. I don't know, but you know where you need to be looking.
TikTok?
No, it's hit or miss. So, in addition, all the police jury offices will be closed through Wednesday, mirroring Calcasieu Parish School Board. And on behalf of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, thank you to everyone for these efforts. And it'll all be over before we know it. And let's just stick together, and we'll stick it out. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter. I want to say thank you to President Barris and all of the local teamwork that happens on occasions like this. I think it was yesterday I used the term a well-oiled machine, and I truly do believe that's what happens here in Southwest Louisiana when stuff like this happens. Fortunately, unfortunately, we are no strangers to events like this. Brian used the word unprecedented earlier, and I yearn for precedented times. I don't know if we have those anymore. It seems like every day we wake up, it's a new challenge, but that's okay because I would rather not face those challenges with anyone else than the people in this room and the community of Southwest Louisiana. So we're working well together, and we're going to do our humanly best to keep people safe. I received a call from Governor Landry yesterday, as I know President Barris and other representatives with Calcasieu Parish Police Jury had a conversation with him as well. We appreciate his reaching out and asking if there's anything that we needed. He's very much on top of this, checking up on the cities that are going to be affected by this severe weather. I really want to stress with our water system, you do not have to turn on your faucets on a full run. A drip is all that's needed. I encourage you to check out the City of Lake Charles's Facebook page. We posted a video this morning of what that drip looks like. Our utilities director does not have a generator at his house, but he was there this morning turning on his faucet the way he will have his faucet running throughout this event. And that image you see there is the way his faucet will be running. If everyone in this city turns on their water full blast over the next 2 or 3 days, we will lose water pressure. It is just unavoidable. If we can maintain that reasonable drip, which is all you need, we have a very good shot at keeping pressure the way we need it. Also, during the day, on a day like today, you don't have to have the drip at all. It's only when temperatures are extended below freezing. We have warming stations available. We've spoken about that. But regarding that, the thing I want to stress the most today is our city buses are running today 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you need transportation to a warming station in the city of Lake Charles, you've got to take advantage during that window, because it is very likely that there will come a point sometime this evening into tomorrow where, though an emergency vehicle may want to get to you, it is not safe to do it. Cannot predict that with 100% certainty, but it is highly likely that come this evening, if you are where you are and need to get somewhere else, you may not be able to get there, and an emergency vehicle may not be able to get to you. So I want to say that again, 5 p.m. today, Monday, January 20th, is when our city buses will stop running to those warming stations. As we encourage people to do on sunny days, 211 is an opportunity for people to receive help, especially families who are in need. Certainly, you can dial 911 in an emergency, but I want to stress again, there may be a point in time where it is not even safe for an emergency vehicle to get on the roadways. I want to encourage people to reach out and check on your friends and family today. We're celebrating Martin Luther King Day, a day that is meant to celebrate community, togetherness. And so a lot of us are home with our families today. I know some of us tried to get to the parade today, but we had a couple other things to do, unfortunately, because of this weather event. But there's a lot of time this afternoon where we'll be sitting at home, taking care of family, watching TV. Check up on your neighbors. Check up on your elderly family members and friends. I just want to say again, we're going to get through this. We have faced these obstacles before. We're going to get through this one as well. And there's a lot of teamwork happening right here in Southwest Louisiana and Lake Charles. And we're going to be as prepared as humanly possible. Yes?
The water pressure right now, and do you need people to, for example, not do their laundry when they have this perfect day off?
So, by the way, when I turned my water on this morning, it was good. So I'm going to give you the firsthand opinion. Water pressure is good. I spoke with our utilities director an hour ago. He said water pressure is good. When it is able for our system to catch up and get those reserves, it's okay. But tomorrow into the next day, if it gets to a point where we're seeing a huge drain on our system, we probably would put out some messaging to say, hey, if you can wait to do your laundry, to do your dishes, wait on that. I thought about saying that this morning. Sometimes you can only get so much messaging to people. So certainly if they can wait to do laundry and dishes, we'll take that. But what we are really asking for, number one, is the drip versus the full run on the faucets. Anything else? Thank you.
Judd, do you need to say anything about water facilities outside the city?
It would be the same message. I know all the districts that the parish manages. We've got all our necessary preparations in place, and then all of the separate special service district water districts, they are as well. Everything's going as needed, so everything's good today. I'm just going to add one more thing. With all this, there's 2 days of the kids out of school. Parents, I know they want to run around, they want to go hang out with their friends, but just, kind of monitor that. Tell them to get somewhere tonight, and they may plan they may be there a couple of days, but just please, that's definitely worth mentioning, because we got a bunch of kids out of school, and just keep that in mind.
Kenny Brown, representing the city of Westlake. Just want you to know that our police department, fire department, and public works are ready for anything that might be happening in the city of Westlake. And if you come across something, if you have a water leak or a gas leak, you can call 433-4151 and report it to the police department, and we'll get somebody out there to help you as soon as we can. Thank you. Be safe.
Took your cheat sheet.
That's good.
Just get somewhere in there.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. That wraps up all of the planned speakers we had today, but of course, as we adjourn here in a second, if there are any other questions about topics that have not been addressed, this would be a good time to cover those if you have any. No? Okay, so looking ahead, it's been announced about school closures and parish offices and others. I think the best route to take for any of the public agencies, it seems social media is what to follow, the official pages of these agencies, to get the latest information. I know that's where we post ours, as do the cities, and that's the easiest way to keep up with every change that goes on. If there are any questions, certainly reach out. At this time, we don't have another public briefing schedule. We need to all abide by the recommendations that have been announced, get in place. Certainly, we'll communicate, though, if that changes. We appreciate everybody coming out, and be safe.